What's up, guys? My name is Crescent, and with the global economy deeply affected by the pandemic, it's become increasingly more difficult to source and import products from overseas, like from China and Alibaba. And as some of you may have already experienced, because of the effects of COVID-19, manufacturing times are taking much longer than normal. We're also experiencing delays with customs clearance, and shipping times and costs have gone up as well. So a lot of proactive sellers have started to look for alternate solutions to get around these issues by looking elsewhere. So in this video, we're going to take a look at how you can find suppliers here in the US, and we'll go over the pros and cons of choosing a US supplier. All right, so let's start with the pros of sourcing your products here in the US and why you would choose this route over sourcing overseas in China. As I mentioned, because of COVID-19 and the government mandates with shutdowns, quarantines, and social distancing, the speed and efficiency of the global economy has taken a huge hit. And although the production times of Chinese manufacturers may still be pretty short, relatively speaking, the biggest advantage we're sourcing in the US in terms of lead time is with shipping. Again, because of COVID-19, shipping times across the ocean are taking much longer than normal, mostly with sea freight. Incidences like the one last week in the Suez Canal with the container ship Ever Given blocking the entire shipping lane hasn't helped, preventing around $10 billion per day of merchandise from passing through. Shipping by air has also been affected too due to delays at the ports. So sourcing your products in the US not only cuts down on the shipping times, but it can also cut down on the shipping costs for obvious reasons, as the shipment doesn't need to travel as far. It also dramatically reduces the lead times by not having to deal with customs when commercial goods are being imported, further cutting down on the lead times by days or even weeks. And depending on where the goods are being imported from, you also avoid having to pay duties. Now, one thing you don't want to overlook is the fact that it's also much easier to communicate with suppliers. Because they're here in the same time zone as the rest of us in the US, you get much faster communication, and because English is the primary language, it's much easier to communicate with far less of a chance of having a misunderstanding or miscommunication, especially if you're making design changes. Furthermore, another advantage you can consider is the fact that the products are made here in the US. Depending on the product you're selling and its perceived value, being able to claim that it's made here in the USA can certainly help with sales, as buyers tend to relate that with quality, because as it stands, there's still a common perception that Chinese manufactured goods are of poor quality, which isn't so much the case nowadays like it was a few decades ago. Okay, so what are the cons of sourcing here in the US? Well, mainly because of the higher labor costs here, the manufacturing costs are going to be much higher. So you can expect to see higher quotes despite having lower shipping costs. You can also expect to see higher MOQs, which is the minimum order quantity. Because of this, sourcing here in the US may be a more viable solution for those that are ready to scale their business and place larger orders rather than those that are just starting. Okay, so choosing to have your products manufactured here or overseas kind of depends on your own situation. So if you're experiencing or expect to have problems with overseas suppliers, then explore your options here in the US and compare the costs. Because remember, business is all about providing the most value at the lowest possible cost to maximize your bottom line. All right, so now that you know what the pros and cons are, where can you find US suppliers? Well, you can start by smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It's not going to help you find any suppliers, but it will help other people find this video and get value from it like you, and I'd appreciate it. Unfortunately, there isn't a single resource like Alibaba for US suppliers, so you'll have to use a few different options to find a supplier. First, there's ThomasNet.com. ThomasNet is free. However, they're more geared towards industrial and commercial type products rather than consumer goods. You can also use a website called WholesaleCentral.com. This is the closest resource to something like Alibaba. It's also free, and you can do a search for the product you're looking for, and it'll pull up a list of manufacturers that make them. Wholesale Central also lets you find upcoming trade shows that you can attend. Trade shows are a great place to find suppliers. Trade shows are usually specific to a certain niche or category, like there's boat shows, home shows, or what have you. So depending on what you're looking to sell, you can do a search here to see if there's any trade shows in your local area or you'd like to travel to. Another great option is a service from makersrow.com. It's different than the previous websites I've mentioned, where instead of just searching for a manufacturer for your product, Makers Row is an end-to-end service. If you have a product idea, they'll help you with the resources to develop the idea, design it, and then manufacture it. Makers Row isn't free though. There's a monthly subscription ranging from $35 to $99 per month. And lastly, if all else fails, you can always use Google. Just jump on Google and type in the product you want to sell, followed by the word manufacturer, supplier, or wholesaler, and see what comes up in the search results. All right, so if you want to get in touch with me, you can find all of my contact details in the video description below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment or question in the comment section below. I answer every single one. And as always, if you found value in this video, consider subscribing, and do me a favor, smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. It really does help me out, and I'd appreciate it. And make sure you ring that bell so you never miss a future video. All right, thanks for watching.